It is.
naked,
It is totally butt naked
butt
again.
naked.
So, good day and welcome to another episode of the RoadFS Detail Podcast, where we talk business, life, all kind of fun stuff.
Naked hoods.
Naked hoods. So, yes, as you know, my name is Jody Cedric, and that Yahoo is
Enrico Sanvidal. That's today. No, I'm Rod Cusey, and you guys know that. If you don't know that, then you probably don't even want to. So we have got some really special guests, and I say that because these guys are not just colleagues of ours, but they're really good friends. So we've got Richard and Carolynne Hutchins, all the way from the UK. How are you guys doing today?
You're doing good, thank you.
Really good, thank you.
Doing good, yeah. Keeping busy, that's the main thing.
Yeah, well, you guys are always busy.
Yeah, you guys are really busy of late. I mean,
we're always up to something.
The last 18 years, you guys have been working a worldwide brand and leather repair company. You guys have franchisees. You have people all over the globe. You have an incredible line of leather, vinyl, cleaning and protection products and restoration products.
Yeah.
And I will just say this. Rod and I have been to a number of the leather repair company trainings.
Yep.
And I actually put everything that I've learned. In fact, I should have pulled up some pictures.
You should have. What are you doing?
Everything that I've learned, and I completely redid our basement couch, sofa, ottoman, and dude, it's funny because my sister didn't know that I was doing that, and she came over this weekend because her son is engaged, and they brought Ella over, and she walked downstairs. She goes, "Wow, you got new furniture." I go, "No, I didn't."
So, that's a good compliment.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
I think probably over the years, I hear the same couple of things. We hear a lot of different things about things that people learn. One of the main things is just the sheer volume of knowledge that people realize they didn't have about leather, vinyl, Alcantara. And then the other thing they learn is how it is not rocket science once you know the techniques, but you kind of have to follow it. And I know that I've done the same thing with Jody did. I actually very nervous to put on a leather repair company training, but I did it in Florida at Rashid Baker's place. And the thing we did, we were doing boats, so we had zero leather. So we talked about leather, we looked at some samples and stuff, but then we did the repairs on vinyl. And there's one of them that it's literally invisible. It is invisible to the naked eye that we actually touched the vinyl. And Rashid was amazed. He actually has a piece hanging on his wall now with the signatures of everybody that was at the training. It's just phenomenal. And I think it's such a big part of detailing that people pass up. They breeze right through. They're like, well, I do an interior detail, and then we're going to go in here and we're going to throw this generic ceramic coating on these leather seats. And now you just go, oh, don't do it, because leather has to breathe. It has to have, it's not alive, but it's still in the process of being preserved.
Yeah, it's got the fat liquors in it, which has got to make it's got to breathe from top to bottom. I mean, leather's got a 1% breathability when it's new anyway. Everybody's always going on, oh, it's not real leather. It's got paint on it. Guys, it's been painted for over 100 years. Leather has always been painted, whether it was veg tanned, or pigmented, chromium tanned or whatever it is, or now synthetic tanning. It's always been, painted on the surface. Yes, the very, very original, maybe going back to like the first motoring car that ever came out, probably wasn't a painted leather back then. But not long after cars came out, they were painted leathers. It was just a veg tan. It was a different type of tanning compared to the actual surface coating. And the only difference back then was there was no clear coat, whereas now they've got a clear coat to make them more durable. So right. Yeah, there is so many. I mean, leather is just, it's a great thing. It still leaves me speechless when we do jobs. It's weird to explain. It just captivates you. But there's so many areas you could go down with leather. This is the thing. There's so many ways with it where you can scale the business that, you don't even need a huge workshop with some of the things. You could do jackets and handbags. You just need a 6-foot table in your home, and you are up and running with a business. Open up a website. Within an afternoon, you can be having a business up and running with a Facebook page, a website built on Wix or whatever, or Shopify, and away you go. You've got a website and a business away like that. That's how easy it is to start a business today.
Yeah.
And the thing is, people do that, but they don't think about where they're going. And that's
yeah. So let's talk about that. Of late, you have been doing you've put out a lot of content about helping people as they're starting out business, right? So what are some of the key things that you think are helpful for new business owners fresh out of the box? They're hungry, they're day one to second year in. What do you think are pivotal points that they need to undertake?
I think the pivotal point really is actually
have a plan.
Have a plan. Stop what you're doing and actually formulate a plan. At the end of the day, any business that you begin, you've got to begin it with the end in mind. What am I going to get for this business when I end it? How much is it worth? What am I going to get out of it? What does the picture look like at the end? Because the thing is, we can also, I could start a business, which is why I said about doing it. You could start a business right now. Costs will run away with you because you have no idea where you're going, and you have no idea how you're going to get there because there is no vision of where you're going. You may have something in your head of where you're going, but you don't actually have an actual plan. So you've got to actually fathom out where you're going. Like, we know in the next 15 years, we will have 30 franchises in the UK. We know we will have a profit of over £200,000 a month. We know we will have a £30 million property portfolio. We know that's exactly what we're going to have because we're determined, because we've got a plan to work to it. We know exactly where we're going with that plan. We know we'll be in 45 countries around the world with distributors in 45 countries. We know what the plan is, and we know how we're going to get there, and we know what the costs are to get it there. Whereas most people don't know what the cost is to get it there. And and that's what dilutes industries. And it's, like, obviously detailing's a very, low entry level business, a bucket and a sponge, and the drying cloth, and you're in business and you're a detailer. So it's a very low entry level. So again, that brings me right back to the IDA. That the IDA has got to make sure it becomes a government, thing within governments around the world to make it a valuable commodity for detailers to be recognized by through schooling and everything else.
Yeah, and I think most people, on that note, what they do is they start a business, even if it's a low entry or a high entry business, and they go, the plan is I work hard and then I sell it for 20 million. And they forget all the stuff in between.
Yeah.
You have to deal with regulations and rules and laws and certifications and changes in all of those things. And I feel like that is the problem, is all the stuff in between. And there's a great book. Everybody should read it. It's called The Messy Middle.
Oh, I actually just finished that book. That is really good.
That's the part. It's, yes, the devil's in the details, but it's in that middle portion. And you also have to plan, how am I going to deal with the ups and downs, right? If you have employees, you're going to have an employee that quits. Guaranteed. There's no business that I've ever heard of that says, we have every employee we've ever hired, nobody's ever quit, unless it's a single person. So you've got to deal with that. You've got to look at the things that are going to happen: wear and tear on equipment, wear and tear on your body, wear and tear on your mind. Burnout is a real thing. The mental challenges of owning your own business and being responsible for your own income. And then throw on top of that, once you get employees, now you start worrying about the fact that you're responsible for their income. And people don't think about that. So the stuff you guys are doing right now, I think, is really valuable. And the journey that you guys have been on has been, so just for people that are watching this that have never talked to you, explain to people how long you have been in business.
Well,
proves how good the protection cream is.
Yeah, definitely.
47, really. It's been that long.
I mean, I'm 57 and I've been in business since I was like, well, if we go right back to being a little kid, 9 years old, I've been trying to run a business. So a very, very, very long time. As a kid, It's there's something that's going to happen shortly, which this will all sort of come to fruition of what I'm going to say here. But we were an underprivileged family when we grew up in my village, and we relied on government handouts. We relied on vouchers to buy government clothing, and I was always the pain in the ass to my mum and dad. She would go to this shop in our local town down the road in Newbury in Berkshire, and there was this particular shop where we had to go to where these governments would send us these vouchers of £50 to get us all the clothes for the whole school term. My mum would dress all my brothers in grey shorts, grey top, white shirt, and grey socks and black shoes. Muggins here? Oh no. No, I didn't want grey. I didn't want to look like them. I wanted, and I'm not joking, this is not an actual funny saying, I actually wanted a fur coat. Brown fur coat with a great big fur collar. And I wanted a fur coat with a fur collar. I wanted trousers because I didn't want to wear shorts because they were all in shorts. And I'm like, you all look like fools. I want to have a proper pair of trousers. I want to look smart. I want to go to school and I want to, I'm going to go out and I'm going to make money. And this was my first picture of me doing that. It was probably when I was about 4 years old, 3 or 4 years old. And I'm sat there and I had to be the one sat on the rocking horse in the middle. So my mum had to go and hire a rocking horse because I'm like, I'm not sitting on a chair. I'm not standing in the middle of my brothers looking like a goon. I want to be the center of attention. I'm on the rocking horse. So
yep, that makes sense.
Ever since I began, it's been a way of making money. And that was like at 9 and 10, 11 years old. I'm putting up timber that's on the side of the road and I'm going down to shops and I'm selling it as like bundles of firewood. I'm trying to run errands for old folks, helping the old folks that couldn't get out, trying to help them. And they're feeding me with cakes and tea and stuff like that. And, giving me money pocket money for going and getting all their shopping. So I'd go and get their shopping for them. I'd go and get their pensions for them. So there was always this trust there because I was going and getting their pensions from an early age, and and then I'm like, well, I want to be behind the counter in the shop. And then I began doing paper rounds. And so my first sort of real business began when I was about 13, 14, when I landed myself in America back in the mid-80s.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned all my detailing trade at that point. So ever since then, so you're talking like 40 odd years in an industry, we've had all sorts of businesses. We have had anything and everything you can think of, from finance companies, mortgage companies. We've had property companies. We've had nightclubs, restaurants, pubs, MLM. We've had adult entertainment businesses. We've had leather businesses. We've had detailing companies. We've literally been there, done it, and worn the t-shirt inside out, upside down.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I love your journey. And I want to address this comment by Ryan Griggs. He said, faith will get you through. There's a lot of discussions about faith in life, faith in business. And I am one of those guys that has a lot of faith in myself. I'm willing to take a leap and build it as I go. But at some point, you do have to have a little bit of faith to get started, right? But at some point, you need to build a plan and work towards that plan to bring your faith to fruition, right? You can't just sit back and just hope that it's going to come to pass. You got to work and you got to make things fall into place so that your dream becomes a reality. And I think a lot of times we just hear, just have faith, that'll work out. But faith requires you to put forth effort. And when you put forth the effort, all of a sudden doors open for you that you never thought would open for you or be available to you until you step forward out that door.
Yeah. I'm not the sort of person to say it's faith. I'm just more of a person to say, have a dream and believe in what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I've got to have belief in what I'm doing.
Yeah.
If I don't believe in what I'm doing,
Yeah.
then it's not going to work. I've got to believe in what I'm doing and have a dream and a vision and have a plan to work to, and then believe in that plan. Very, very simple.
And it's interesting you say it that way, because that is almost the exact conversation that Jody had with an ex-employer right the day he walked out the door. So he told the employer, he said, I need to know what your plan is, and I need to believe in it, or I can't get on board. And
Yep.
they had a plan that was not working.
And it
And-
wasn't articulated.
And, yeah. and it wasn't articulate. And I had shown them literally on paper how our plan would have doubled their income, and they rejected it. So we left. And at this point, we're going on our 17th year of this company, and they're out of business.
Yeah.
And I don't
Exactly.
say that
There
to
you go.
pat myself on the back. I say it to say, look, we had a belief or a faith in what we were doing. We knew it would work. We could pencil
We
it
could
out
vision
on,
it in
we
our
could
mind.
we could see it in our
Yeah,
mind, but then you
exactly.
could also put it on paper, and the numbers lined up. So to me, it's those two things. It's the belief in what you're doing, penciling it out so it works on things on paper mathematically, and then the third thing is you have to have a little bit of craziness.
Grit
You
and
have
crazy.
you have to have the craziness just to believe that I can do this, right? You're going
Yeah.
into something that you don't necessarily know how to do. When you were, younger, when you're in your 20s, you're in your 30s, I don't care how old you are, if you've never done that, you have to be a little crazy to go into it going, yeah, I can do that. I can make that work.
Mhm.
And to me,
Yep.
it's very similar to leather repair or vinyl repair or detailing. You've never done it before. You go to a training at the leather repair company and you go, yeah, I can do this. And we've seen it. We've seen people turn and make an entire business out of learning a skill, and then they see that vision and they go, I can make this into an entire business. So you've done multiple things. Currently, leather repair company has product, it has training, and then it has franchises. So that is a 3-tiered approach on a business that I think a lot of detailers need to think about that. If you're just out there every day and you're taking your hands and you're polishing and you hurt yourself, how are you going to get by? And I'll use myself as an example. Jody will be going to the training in Denver at the end of next week. I will not be attending because there are 2 muscles in this arm that connect to a tendon, and I ripped that tendon 2 weeks ago.
Ooh.
I don't have a right arm right now. I mean, I have it, but I can't. If I pick up this cup of coffee, it hurts. So I will be in surgery because this arm, and it's a 5 to 6 month recovery. Now think about that. If you're a detailer and you're the only one. Good morning, beautiful people. Yes,
Beautiful
sir. Good
people.
morning.
How is that baby?
That's right. She's the sweetest little. Oh my God, the eyes on that
Yep.
kid.
Yeah.
Oh, she's beautiful.
Oh yes.
So
Yep,
the thing about
sure
that
is.
is if I relied on this arm for my living, I'm about to go out of business. But because I have
Yep.
great partners and we have a plan, it's not going to affect us. It's not going to affect
No.
our business at all. And at home, it's not going to affect me either because we have a backup plan. I've got kids that are going to help me out. I've got a wife that's going to help me out and take over what I was doing. So you have to think about those things. And I think that's part of people that are in detailing is they don't think about what's next
Sure.
before they start.
I don't think it's just detailing, to be fair. I think a lot of industries, I think the problem they've got is,
Yes.
like you've hit the nail on the head there. We have almost like a 3-pronged approach to our business. We do obviously other things, but those are the 3 main core things that we focus on. Whenever you start a business, your business should have like a 2 to 3 main things that you focus on, because your energy cannot be put into other areas. It's very, very simple, because it's just going to get diluted, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Yeah.
So, and it's, you've got to have that energy put into those 3 main areas.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you've got to be able
be
to.
prepared to. You've got to be prepared to deviate along the way as well. Like if something does crop up, like an injury or something, something that just sets you off course a little bit. You just swing around it, find another solution to get there, keep the end goal still in sight, just deviate around the problems along the way. Things will crop up, things will go wrong. I don't think anybody anywhere can say that, it's been a perfect ride. Things do go wrong. They will go wrong. You've just got to find a way to get around it.
There's always a solution to everything.
Yeah.
Yesterday I was having a conversation. Well, I was walking by my daughter, and she's been doing some amazing social media influencer work. I mean, she's every day I get packages from Amazon for her. And I was walking by her and she goes, "Man, Dad, I just got to get motivated. I got all this stuff I got to do." I go, "No, you don't need to be motivated. You need to be disciplined."
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
think a lot of times as business owners, we lose the motivation, we lose the excitement, and that's when discipline has to kick in. When you drag yourself out of bed, when you force yourself to stay 10 more minutes at the end of a day and go, "You know what? I'm going to make one more call, even if it's just to check in on somebody or to pick up that call." And that little bit of effort, that little bit of resiliency, it can get you through really challenging times because inevitably something is going to clip you in business. It's going to catch you off guard and you're going to be going, "What the how do I get through
Yeah.
this?" Right? So
Yeah.
at some point you got to dig in and just work.
Yeah, I think that's sort of like a classic example. It's again, you've got to have that plan, because the thing is, if it kicks you off course, you've got to be able to bring yourself back on course, back into that plan. You've got to, because if you're not careful, what's going to end up happening is it's going to throw you off course, and all of a sudden, this road that you're going down, you're going to be over here. And this is what happens so many times with detailers. And so many, I've seen it with window cleaners, carpet cleaners. I've seen it even with guys that do just leather repair. They get so excited about seeing something that somebody else is doing, and they've got to go and do it instead of just focusing on their core business of where they're earning money from. And we've seen it happen so many times, and it isn't just the detailing industry that this happens in. It happens in everything.
Yeah.
We've seen it with plumbers. I mean, plumbers all of a sudden, instead of just doing all the pipe work in someone's home, all of a sudden they want to open a shop. They want to sell baths. They want to sell this. They want to sell that. And then they want to start selling gadgets. And it's like, oh my God, guys, you are literally, diluting what your business is about. Become a specialist in what you do, and stop trying to become a specialist as a salesman. Be a specialist in supplying the services and fitting pipe work and plumbing in a house. And it's, and this is the problem with people. They don't realize what they're doing, and they're just going off diluting their industry by not focusing on the main 2 or 3 core things that they should be doing in their business. And a lot of the time, when they're sort of losing that momentum, they don't realize that they're just coasting along all the time. And nobody's ever said to them, if you actually change from 5th gear to 3rd, you can actually give yourself a bit of a kick up the backside and get there a lot quicker, because that engine's got a lot more power in it if you were to just down the gears and go. And it's just, people don't realize that. And they just, sometimes they get so complacent sitting there just plodding along. And that happens with so many businesses. I think it's like 80% of businesses fail in the first 2 years of startups. I mean, that is a colossal thing, because they didn't have the ending in mind. They didn't have an end goal in mind. We're now planning the exit of our business. We are both planning the exiting of our business. We know when it's going to happen. We are planning that exiting right now. There's all sorts of things going on in the company. We are planning the exit from the business. It's not going to happen immediately, but we are planning that exit. You've got to plan that exit. Who's going to take the company over? We know exactly who's going to do that. They're being trained. That is happening, and we know exactly how that's going to happen, and we know when it's going to happen. And there's people coming into the company to allow us to do that. And we're now setting up things on the side that are going to give us assets for our retirement. So we've got a retirement fund coming in. But again, there's things that you've got to do that. There's, in England, I don't know what it's like in the States, but over here, you can set up a limited company, you can buy a property, you can put that property into a limited company. When you die, your children don't pay inheritance tax on that property, because it belongs to the company. It doesn't belong to you individually. So, in England, you get tax for everything. You buy a property, you pay tax. You make profit on it, you pay tax. You sell it, you pay tax. You die, you pay more tax. It's, so you put it into a company. Again, all this is planning your business. You've got to know where you're going. Or else you're never going to get there. You're going to be diluting everything in every direction possible.
Well, and that's the thing, is you've got to learn the streets, I call it, right? If you move to a new city, you've got to learn the streets. You've got to know how to get from point A to point B. A business is the same way. You've got to learn the streets and all the curves. And that's taxes, and that's legal, and that's hiring practices. And then right when you learn it all, they're going to come in and do construction and blow some of that away, and you got to redo it. And you've got to be able to literally change. One of the things that people talk to us about is when we acquired Detail Bookie. Well, why would you buy a second software? They do the same thing. No, they don't. And the thing about that is that helps us get to the end goal. Acquiring a business sometimes is the best thing to do, or finding a partner, or starting up a franchise. If you don't know how to start a business from the ground up, a franchise is a great way to go. You have to find a decent franchise partner. You have to find somebody that's going to back you and that's going to be there for support and everything else. And you have to do your due diligence. There's no easy button. There is no easy button. You have to do the work. And sometimes that's studying stuff you don't want to study. Jody hates reading legal documents. He hates it. But sometimes he has to. I will sit down and go, nope, we're going to read
this.
We have to read this right now. And they'll say, well, what does that mean? I'm saying, okay, that means this. And that's the key, is asking questions, knowing when you don't know something, and saying, what do I need to do this? Right? I learn every single time we go to a training, and we say this all the time, and I think sometimes people don't believe this. Every single time we go to a training, we learn something. Jody and I get excited about stuff. We went to our very first leather repair training. We came out of there, we're like, we need to open up a shop repairing leather. This is great. We pull back from that because we know what our core business is.
Yeah.
But we've done that. We've gone to industrial coating trainings. We need to open up a shop and do industrial coatings. We get so excited about it. I think that is the advantage or the benefit of going to a training, is to re-energize yourself, even if it's the same thing you've learned 100 times. Go to those trainings. Go to those trainings and get excited about what you're doing.
I think.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Richard. Go ahead.
I was going to say it is about getting excited with the thing you're doing, and it's trying to stay in your lane. That's the thing with it, and it's not trying to get sidetracked with everything. And it's like Rod says, it's knowing where the streets lie and where the things are, and it's trying to sort of when one falls down, you've got to dig in deep and and believe in what you're doing and keep going forward. You've got to believe that the ending is going to happen, and the only way you're going to believe that is write it down, type it out, stick it in a photo frame, and look at it every single morning and every single night. Just recite that, and eventually you'll be able to read that off to everybody, almost a bit like your business pitch. That's what I'm doing. And it's you've got to get it into your head firmly and believe in exactly what you're doing.
Yeah,
I think, playing devil's advocate, right? I think a lot of times new business owners, they'll listen to a podcast like this and they're like, well, dude, I'm not playing for the future. I'm just trying to survive, right? I'm just trying to build. And you guys are saying, you need to plan with the end in mind, right? And I think what I would say to those younger guys that are feeling that way is like, look, build your business for a purpose. Build to grow. Build to expand. Build to support your family and employees if you want to, right? And at some point, you don't know what you don't know, right? So find a good coach, find a good mentor, find somebody that is where you'd like to be in 10 years and go, hey, can I take 30 minutes of your time and lock in 30 minutes? Don't go over the 30 minutes. Come in and go, what do I not know? What would you recommend? When Rod and I started RoadFS in 2009, the first 2 years, literally, both of us would call up a company and we would say, look, we're building a new software CRM for your business, but I need to know what it's missing. And I remember going down to Western HVAC, heating and air conditioning, to Bob. And I said, Bob, tell me what I'm missing to meet the HVAC market. And dude, he unloaded. He's like, you'd have to have blah, 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 blah. And I realized, I'm like, all right, we're not going down that market, right? Yep. But I saw somebody that was where I wanted to go, and I went and bent his ear. And sometimes they're going to have information that is going to steer you in the direction they went, and other times they're going to have information that's going to steer you away from where you think you want to go because it's not in line with your vision.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's again, you've got to be careful of people steering you away from that vision, like you say. And again, the same thing happens with customers. Customers will think they're helping you, and they just become the ones that's going to, suck the life out of you. And some of them, and it's just they're just going to be the ones, as we call it, the time vampires. They're just going to take your time, and before you know it, the whole day's gone, and you've not done anything. And it's just, you can't buy back time. It's very, you just cannot buy back time. You've got to use, organize yourself. You've got to be proactive with the way you're being organized. You've got to be very strict, on how you're being organized. You've got to have a sort of army of attack and a war plan. That's the two different sort of scenarios in business. And that's how it's got to be.
Yeah, and I heard this years and years ago, but people, I think they have a tendency to think this is a negative, but it's not. And that if you take a business as an entity, right? This is your business. It has two functions. Its function is to make money and stay in business, and that's it. It wants to survive and it wants to make money, and those two things are tied together. A business can't stay there if it's not cutting the bills. And I think a lot of people allow their ego to enter into that business. And, we see this in the detailing industry because we're involved in it. And like you said, I think it's in every industry, but there's detailers out there. I'm the best polisher. I'm the best this. I do this better than anybody. And that's great if that meets those first two goals. If that helps you make money and helps you stay in business, being the world's #1 detailer, that's great. If all it does is feed your ego, that is doing nothing for you. We go into a training and we stop and talk to people and they're like, man, you why don't you have a shop? You should do this. And I'm like, because it's not about that for me. It's about keeping this business running and taking on that next thing and what's going to be next. How are we going to get to where we want to be? I don't think that we have lost our goal from day one. That was, we never wanted to work for somebody else. And we wanted to have a business that supported our families and allowed us to retire someday. And there's several different ways to get out, but we're open to whichever one of those comes around.
Right.
Yep. And it's the same with us. I mean, we've never lost the vision of what we wanted with the business. I mean, when I began many, many years ago, even before I met Carolynne, I mean, the vision was for me then was to have a business that was in nearly every country in the world, which was doing vehicle detailing, and then be a huge franchise network. Well, we've done exactly the same thing, but we've just narrowed it down to interiors. We're still in the detailing industry.
Yeah,
we've just
more specialist.
We've just become the specialist in our industry, and and that's exactly what we've become. We've just become the go-to specialist in our industry, and it's why universities and colleges come to us to write information for those universities and colleges. It's why, and we can't say which particular car brands, but we work with car brands, and because of NDAs and documents we sign, we work with them about checking leathers, bringing out new types of leather finishes, and just new ways of doing things in the automotive industry. And it was like a dream come true when these companies approached us. It's like the wildest dreams come true. But the thing is, if you become that specialist in your industry and focus on your industry and know exactly where you're going and what the vision is, you will get there. But we just narrowed it down to one service, which was leather repair. I think, and that was it.
Yeah. And I think that the key to that is you guys have done such a good job of narrowing it down to leather and vinyl repair that when people see you do other parts of detailing, it's a shock. And I know I did it. I fully admit it. I did it. You and I were at Tate & Trout's shop, and Richard picks up a polisher and starts polishing on this black Trans Am. And I'm like, the leather guy's polishing. And I'm like, oh, duh. He's been detailing cars since he was like 4 years old. Yeah. So we have a tendency to forget that. And I've had people say that to me as well. We were at the same shop and I was showing people this advanced technique of getting a run out of clear coat with a razor blade. And one of our friends there goes, oh my gosh, Rod does know it. And I'm like, well, yes, I'm a software. That's what I do for work. But yes, Yeah, hey, that's me. Yeah, take trout. So the thing is at those shops you learn other things about other people that you never knew,
Trans Am
but it's
still
just that
haunts
they
me.
haven't gone down that path.
Yeah. So I mean, and you guys are always trying to push businesses in the right direction. I mean, you guys are just really, really good about trying to come up with new. That Trans
The
Am
Trans Am
still haunts me.
Come on,
Yes,
Tayton.
Tayton. I know it's a nightmare.
It
man.
still haunts you, but it
Dude.
was one of the greatest
Like,
things I've ever seen of the industry coming together. So
Yeah.
you provided us, that Trans Am provided us an opportunity to bond and learn and do some really killer work and see what Jason Rose is like after hours.
That's right.
There you go.
So let's talk about opportunities.
70 around the bend with the car in its own driving mode, and it's like, I'm going to let go of the steering wheel.
Yeah,
Okay, I have no more hair left.
we did it.
Well,
But
let's
yeah,
talk
I mean
about.
that is a sorry interrupting. That's a classic example, though, isn't it, of people coming together, helping Tate out in a very sticky situation. And the backside of that is, I get the privilege of working with all these other people. And
Yeah.
how many people can say they've been stood there in a shop detailing a black Trans Am with Jason Rose?
Right.
It's
There's
like
about
a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, let's talk about opportunities to grow, to connect, to learn. Next year, May.
It's May 15th.
2026.
It is not March. It is May.
May 15th,
Definitely May.
2026. The Detailing Summit is having the show, right?
The
It's
show.
I
Yes,
love
the
that,
show.
the show. So let's talk about the show in Manchester, England next year.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's a concentrated version of the detailing summits that we've been doing already. So it's all around getting everybody together we have a lot of, after the detailing summits, we have a lot of support groups where even if we just chat in there, someone's having a bad day, and it's just having people to go to when you're feeling down or you're struggling with something, or it's usually not even business related. A lot of it is mental health related as well. But the show is going to be where all the brands can come together, or detailers, or anybody can come together for the one day under the most iconic plane there is in the UK,
In the world,
which is Concorde.
Yeah.
That's in the building. All the stands, trade stands, booths are going to be underneath and surrounding Concorde. It's going to be brilliant.
Yeah.
And
I think
you talk about opportunities there. I mean, when we were looking for an event, we decided to do this, and we were looking for a venue, and I was scouring the internet up and down the country, building after building, and I'm like, this is just ridiculous. And I kept seeing this thing all the time come up, Concorde Centre Manchester. And I kept thinking, I know there's the Concorde Centre Manchester, but they won't rent it out. And then eventually found this website for them, and I'm like, oh my God, they actually do venues. There's cars in this building. There's Jaguars in here. There's all sorts of cars in here. This is absolutely crazy. So I rang up John, who I'm dealing with the seats, because obviously we're restoring the whole of the Concorde interior for them.
Yeah.
And we're doing that free of charge, just to, preserve heritage history for the United Kingdom. And it's just, we want to do it for the world, because we're just preserving that history with so many people, famous people that have flown on that particular plane. Some of them sadly not with us. And I'm like, John, can I hire the Concorde Centre? And he's like, yeah, we have a complete conference centre. We can do that. And I'm like, my God, just get me signed up right now. And they're like, well, you need to go through a process of finding out how much it is. I don't care. Sign me up. I just want the building, And eventually the girl came to us and we signed it up. But I mean, that again is just not literally, I didn't think to even go to them. I didn't even think to slow down, to take heed of the moment and think, well, do they do this? Even though he'd already said to me, we have events here, the penny never, ever clicked, because we were just so excited about Concorde all the time. The penny just never clicked, and it's, again, that takes me back to your business plan. Know where you're going and you'll get there.
Yeah. And be open to those opportunities, because that is,
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot of unique venues, but that's got to be up there, because you're literally going to be underneath the
Underneath Concorde, yeah.
and you're going to be, and it is so, a lot of events we go to, you land and then you rent a car and you drive for an hour and a half and then you stay there and then you drive for 30 minutes to the venue and then it's a reverse of that to go home. This is literally land, walk across the street and you're there.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. We get to
you literally do.
Okay.
And that's the beauty of it. For everybody flying in from different countries in the world, you literally land at Manchester Airport, you walk across the road to your hotel, and it's a quarter of a mile. You walk to the venue from the hotel. You cannot have something any closer. And when you're actually in the Concorde Centre, all the planes are taking off to America, Saudi Arabia, France, Ireland, back to London, every country in the world. You're literally watching them take off right in front of you.
Yeah.
You couldn't be in a better place.
Yeah, so it's going to be.
They're also going to let every single person that attends is also allowed to go into Concorde as well. So you can go up the steps and in Concorde, all laid out, and you'll see the seats that we've restored.
Yeah, you get to see the leather seats you guys are preparing, and I think that right there shows the other piece that a lot of times goes unsaid that I know you guys do a lot, and that is to give back to the industry, which is another way that you get to where you want to go. If you start giving back to the industry, and that's part of the people ask Jody and I all the time, they're like, why do you guys go to all these trainings? I mean, you go to a training and you're there and like you get 20 minutes to talk about your software. And we're like, that's not why we're there. We're there to highlight, we're there to show the industry these trainings and to give back so that we can all continue to rise up. And I think that is, like for you guys do so many of these just unbelievable once in a lifetime things. And I think people think you're making tons of money on those, but you just said like Concorde, you're doing that for free. When you redo Dr. Dre's jacket or the white leather couch and, those
George Michael,
those are things that you guys do because they're fun. That's what I've got a neighbor that has a 1956 Porsche 356 and he asked if I could help him restore it. And I was like, heck yeah, because it's a 1956 Porsche 356. I get to help bring this thing back to life. And that I think is things people don't realize is giving back to the industry, doing something that is going beyond just worrying about making money and staying in the shop and when's the next car coming in. You got to stick your head up and you got to look around and be part of the industry and things will come to you.
I think the fact of it is as well, it helps us as much as it helps them. So just helping other people, supporting other people, we get that back as well, or we feel great when we've done that for somebody as well. So it's reciprocated round.
Yeah, I think like we've been to India recently, and now India is quite a culture shock if you've never been. It is a very different country, but we've completely embraced that culture when we went, which is what we wanted to do. Carolynne had all the saris and things made for her because we were going to our distributor's house for a complete full puja, and I had my dhoti and stuff like that. And we had all the markings on our heads. We did everything. We didn't eat with our knives and forks, because we were never offered them. We ate with our hands. Is exactly how they do things. We embraced that culture fully, but it wasn't until I went there that I realized how you had to do business so differently in that country compared to any other country we'd been to in the world. And the thing is, with the sort of Indian culture, you also realize that, how much of a culture shock it is compared to, the sort of Western world, so to speak, with financials and everything else. And then it's like, they are very caring people, and no matter, even though they're on a lot less money than what we are, they always smiling, they're never unhappy, no matter what happens. Even when we were there, someone was in hospital dying, the guys were still smiling, and they're like, we've got to go to the hospital, we'll be without you for a couple of hours, but we might end up being without you for a couple of days, because if they die, they bury the people straight away. So we're like, okay, that's fine, you've got to do what you've got to do, we'll adapt and we'll work around it. But it's like when somebody's born in India, they give away silver to somebody by the weight of the person's hair when they're born. Yeah. So they believe in doing that. They give that silver away because they know that they're going to get it back tenfold, because that's what they believe. They give a lot of money to charity because they know what they give to charity, they'll get back tenfold with people helping them. And that sort of leads us on to another project that we're doing, which, Carolynne will explain that one, what we're doing at the moment.
for the children.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've set up locally like not an employment hub, but to give advice to young kids leaving school, college age kind of kids. And we've got a lot of local businesses around to help give advice to the kids, that because there's not a lot of opportunity around near us. They've got to go quite a way. We're a bit out in the sticks. They've got to go quite a way to travel to work. So we're going to give advice on maybe setting up their own businesses, things like that, and just things that kids don't think of, and also providing them with some smart uniform if they need it for interviews and stuff, how to conduct yourself in an interview. So that's another little string to our bow that we're sorting out locally as well.
And that's just like in the whole of East Yorkshire, which is, it's a pretty big region, you know. And I mean, we just, some kids can't afford to buy a suit and shoes to go to get an interview, to get a job. We are going to, you know, both myself and Carolynne, we're going to give them to the kids free so that they can get that interview. They can look smart. They can go through the interview process. We're working now with our local high school, you know, doing mock interview processes, which we've got our first thing going on in the next couple of months. We're also going to be working with the art department, because there's a lot of artistic kids here in the school, and there's nothing around here for them for art. So we're now going to be doing something with the school, because we want to help the kids come to us to learn about art. And we're going to do all of this because it's giving back to the community. At the end of the day, we hear this quite a fair bit with companies saying we can't employ anybody. The trouble is, they're like, we can't employ school kids. We can't employ anybody when they're leaving school. The trouble is, these kids don't even know these companies exist, because they're not interacting with the kids when they're at school. They're not going to the school and saying to the schools, what can we do for your school to help your children, to tell them about the business world? Because when they leave here, there's a big bad world out there waiting for them to eat them up if they don't get it right. What can we do to help the children to understand this is the process when they come for an interview? This is what we're going to do, you know, and this is what we're trying to do, is to give back to our community. You know, it's got to be done. You know, things are becoming tougher and tougher with the way things are going with industries. Let's give back to the kids. Let's start right at the beginning and make them flourish where, you know, we maybe didn't at the beginning. Let's make them kick off in a very good way. It's as simple as that. And the kids can't afford uniforms. We're going to give it to them and their shoes. It's very, very simple.
That's awesome. That's a fun little project. Yeah.
It's going to be a good one.
And I think, you know, I think a lot of times, because when I was listening to you tell that story, I think about my son Ashton. Right, he came from Haiti, you know, out of an orphanage, and he often says, "I want to build enough businesses where at some point I can just build a little housing facility where I can empower people with money and housing and skills and help to arm them." Right. So he has this in the back of his mind, this vision that's just kind of tickling. Right. And I think a lot of times we're so impatient to get to that point.
Yes.
And my other son at the end of last year, he's like, next year I'm going to go on tour. And he's been visioning going on tour for years. He's wanted to go on a music tour. And he hired a tour agent, and the guy didn't do anything. But Devin, in the back of his head, he's still, I'm going to go on a tour. I'm going to go on tour. And then he met this young guy out of the UK, Peter, a phenomenal guitarist. And he goes, he's listening to Devin's music. And they were just talking about, you know, musician stuff. And he goes, you need to go on tour. He goes, well, I've been trying. He goes, well, let's go on tour. So the last 3 weeks, him and this guy, Peter, they've been building out a 10-day tour all across the Western Seaboard. And it's amazing how, like, you have this dream in the back and it seems like it's never coming. It's never coming, never coming. And then all of a sudden the right pieces fall into place and you're going, holy crap, it's happening and it's happened. Right. So don't be impatient just because it hasn't happened yet. Because if you keep building towards that vision, the right doors are going to open. That's the thing with it. You've got to keep building that vision. You've got to have the vision. You've got to believe in it. And it will eventually, you will make it happen because you've got to believe in it. That's the thing. And it's like with Devin, it's going to happen. And he believed in it.
And he didn't give up on it. It didn't happen. It didn't happen maybe the way he thought at the
No, it
beginning,
didn't.
but it still
No,
happened.
exactly.
And that's the thing. And
Exactly.
then this,
Yeah.
and this is a bit morbid, but whether you plan for the end or not, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You're going to exit
absolutely.
at some point. And I think that is, it's not the only goal. You can't just go, I got to look for the end and don't think about anything else. Again, you got to look in the middle. But as we get to the end of our podcast here, the thing is, don't ignore the process and enjoy that process.
Enjoy
along
the
way.
process.
Don't hate the fact that I'm not here yet. You got to enjoy each step of the way, because if you look back, we're like I said, we're about to start into our 17th year. And if I look back to year one, this is not what it looks like.
No.
But we've enjoyed this process and getting here because now we see other roads in a way to get to where we want to be. And it's phenomenal. It's been a phenomenal journey. So
Yeah, and it's like, have you guys always had staff there from the beginning?
We
no,
started
the first year, no.
In 2009, it was just the 4 owners, and we would actually meet around each other's kitchen tables. We'd go to a different owner's house. In 2010, we got this building, and we have been in this building with employees since 2010.
Yeah.
And in fact,
well, that's good. That's again having the right people on to do the right things, so that you can focus on the right areas that what you want to focus on. That allows the business to grow and scale.
Absolutely. And we do have we have like employees 2 and 3 still.
2, 3, and 4.
2, 3, and 4 are still here with us after that many years. 16 years,
2, 3,
15
and 5.
Yeah.
So it's an amazing journey. Well, we're super excited. You guys have an amazing event. So I just wanted to pop this up real quick, guys. The event, the Detailing Summit, the show, May 15th, 2026. There is a QR code that you can scan, or you can go to detailingsummit.com/attendees-2.
And you guys need to get registered to attend this.
And the tickets are cheap. They're 26.71 pounds, which is about $25 US.
And the thing about it is get yourself there. You get the opportunity to go to Manchester, England. You get the opportunity to see all these great vendors that you don't see. One of the biggest impacts on me was when we got to go to the Detailing Summit in the Netherlands and see all of the different companies that are available in the UK. There's some fabulous products. There's some fabulous people that are they're just great. So get outside of your own comfort zone and go do these things. And you get to travel, you get to have fun, spend a couple of days there, hang out.
Make it a little getaway for you and the missus.
Well, that's it. Exactly, a little getaway. And it's a great getaway, a great lot of fun. And again, the thing is, if you like sort of music and stuff like that, you're not too far from Liverpool with the Beatles and everything else, and Penny Lane, and it's a short drive. If you wanted to hire a car and go down there, what a fantastic experience to do, and maybe have 3 or 4 days, coming over and doing it.
That's what I know planning on doing.
Yeah,
you don't know this, but the 19th of May is my wedding anniversary. So Tracy and I are going to spend that in England.
So Rod's having an anniversary trip that is starting off about the
13th or 14th and kicking up.
That's going to be awesome.
So we are really excited about it. Everybody go out and do that stuff. And then if you haven't had a chance to go to one of the leather repair trainings or some of the business stuff that you're offering, you need to go do that. There are videos out there for members only that are fantastic. And I think that people just need to look into it because it is so eye-opening, that part of the industry.
Yeah.
So
I think it's just making sure that you support the people that support you. Really, that's what it's about. Is you've got to give back to the industry, because there's no point me taking all the knowledge with me to the grave. It doesn't serve anybody any good. It doesn't keep an industry evolving, and going forward. And that's what we got to do.
Yep.
I had a really morbid thought.
I did too.
I'm like, all the little worms are waiting down there to consume all that in your little brain.
No, because here's the thing: is what I thought of is with Richard,
they're planning as well.
Yeah, the little
worms are planning.
See, the little worms are planning. They all know we're coming. You see, so
they're not though, because we're going to use leather protection cream, and I'm going to be preserved. And in 100 years, they're going to dig me up, and I'm just going to go, hello, and I'm going to be
Hello,
just
mate.
like this.
Yeah,
All right, guys. Well, you know we love you
Cool.
guys. Please, everybody, go
Thank
out
you
and
very
like,
much.
share, and subscribe to this as well as Leather Repair Company's channels. It really helps us keep bringing you content and everything. And I encourage everybody to go out and go to some trainings and go to the show.
Yep. And next
Yes,
week,
definitely. Yep.
I will be live from the RoadFS Bigfoot Academy with.
And I will be under the knife.
He will be. Yes, he
Oh,
will
dear.
not be there with me. So you
He's
guys
getting the
have.
sniff.
Yep. You guys have a great week. Thank you for being on the show. And you guys, we will check you same time, same bad channel, just next week. See ya.
See ya.
Bye-bye.